Welcome everyone to the regular August board meeting for the Community High School District 94 Board of Education. Mission statement, please.
Community High School will ignite a passion for learning, foster leadership and responsibility, and empower all leaders to live their personal best, all learners to live their personal best.
Thank you, Rich. Board agreements, please.
Use of electronic communication. Board members will be judicious in their use of electronic communication with respect to district business and understand that most electronic communication is subject to the Freedom of Information Act and as such can be made public. In compliance with the Open Meetings Act, board members will not reply to all to any district email. A board member may discuss district business in person or by telephone or email with only one other board member at a time.
Thank you, Lynn. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Ms. Casey Mayer?
Here.
Mr. Nagel?
Present.
Mr. Ramus remotely? Ms. Munoz?
Here.
Ms. Chavez?
Here.
Ms. Murphy?
Present.
All right, that brings us to public participation. This is the portion of our meeting where any member of the public may address the Board of Education on any topic. We welcome your comments and will carefully listen to your concerns. We will not be able to engage in a dialogue during public participation, but when appropriate, we will direct the administration to follow up. Presentations are limited to no more than 5 minutes per person with a total time limit of 30 minutes for public participation. If you wish to make personal charges or complaints against individual employees, volunteers, or students of the district, we request that you send the board your concerns in writing rather than stating those concerns during public comment. If anyone currently present wishes to make public comment and hasn't already done so, please fill out one of the comment forms in the back of the room and hand it to someone seated at the table. At this point, we have received no comment forms and no electronic comments. We will move on to reports and information. Executive Director of Business Services report.
Thank you. So an update on the FY27 tentative budget. Evidence-based funding and the corporate personal property replacement tax numbers have been released. The district is still Tier 1 for evidence-based funding, and that allocation is $679,393. I had budgeted $500,000 for EBF, so I will need to make an adjustment to the budgeted revenue. The CPPRT number, which unlike EBF is only an estimate, is estimated by the Illinois Department of Revenue to be $1.8 million. I had estimated only $1.3 million for CPPRT. For budgeting purposes, I plan to only use $1.7 million for CPPRT. Again, I'll need to adjust the revenue numbers to account for these changes. Both of these changes will be reflected in the budget when it gets approved next month. Based on the information, I'll have other expenditure adjustments to the tentative budget, likely for capital outlay. Again, please let me know if you have any questions for the FY27 tentative budget. And then an auditorium update. So there are good news in the auditorium that we've been told for months that the end panels were not going to be ready until September. It appears that all those end panels did come in. And as of Saturday, most of the seats are installed. With that said, we've identified some or multiple issues that need to be addressed before the space can be used. We have a meeting set up tomorrow morning to discuss those issues, but we are continuing to look for and hope for a quick resolution on those issues. And then donations under 500. We had 2 of those donations, one for soccer for 150 and one for football for 100. They don't need to be board approval, but they are attached to the agenda for your information. Any questions?
Dan, I'd just like to say regarding your budget numbers, thank you for the way you're so conservative on that. I'd much rather have the updates you just gave where it's going to be higher than you anticipated than going the other way, so thank you for that.
What are some of the issues with the auditorium?
They're having some issues with some of the screws and anchors holding the seats into the concrete. So we're trying to figure out a resolution to find a good anchor that can hold the seats down.
Is that because the concrete is soft in spots or the anchors aren't proper? I mean, what's the situation?
That's what the meeting tomorrow morning is for, to figure out what the issue is and how we can resolve it.
Okay, and that's the only issue?
For the most part, yes. There's still some
scratch here.
Yeah, there's still some last minute things that they need to take care of, adding some things to the seats and just some minor stuff, kind of punch list type of things to finish them up. But The concrete is the most concerning part.
And that's old concrete that was epoxy coated, right? They didn't pour new concrete in there.
They did not pour new concrete, no.
Any other questions for Dan? All right, Executive Director of Human Services report.
All right, so we'll start with the staffing update today. So with today's personnel recommendations, pending board approval, all licensed positions for the 26-27 school year will be filled, except for the certified school nurse position. For support staff, we currently have 3 personal care assistant PCA vacancies, 1 custodial vacancy, and 1 program assistant vacancy resulting from a position change. This meeting's personnel report also includes recommendation for coaching positions by season and activity sponsor assignments, with approximately 9 positions still to be filled. We have qualified applicants currently moving through the screening and hiring process for several of these openings. Additionally, we are allocating a 0.4 FTE from our 1.0 discretionary FTE allotment to support English as a second language and ESL position that will provide sheltered instruction in algebra and biology. Overall, we are well positioned for the start of the 26-27 school year, with only a small number of support staff, coaching, activity, and specialized positions remaining to be filled. Our next update is about our substitute orientation. So a substitute orientation was successfully held with 26 of our 38 substitutes in attendance. During the session, we reviewed district policies and protocols. We introduced a safety presentation led by Mr. Pater and provided dedicated time for substitutes to complete their required ELN mandated trainings. The orientation helped ensure our substitute staff is well prepared and aligned with district expectations for the upcoming school year.
I just have a quick question. Can you just tell me what sheltered instruction is, what that means?
So essentially, you would probably be better at explaining it than me, so go ahead. I'm gonna defer to Lima.
So the courses that we refer to as sheltered are the courses in which all of the students that are enrolled in that class are identified as an English learner.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
We currently partner with any nursing colleges or any colleges for that matter to kind of recruit.
So we don't, but we have a couple partnership employment agencies that we've used in the past, and I've reached out to them. A lot of them just have LPNs and RNs. They don't have the certified Pell nurses available at the current time. It's a need in all of the districts, so we're a member of NWPA. I even reached out to them to see most of those districts have LPN and RN positions open and have only 1 certified school nurse on staff, so it is an area that's just difficult to staff. We had 1 applicant who does not have the correct endorsement or the correct degree as of yet, who's in process of completion, so there is a possibility that that candidate by December has the requirements that we need. But as of right now, we don't have anyone in the pot, and in reaching out to, like I said, our partnership employment agencies and also other school districts, it's a difficult position to fill.
There's a listserv from DuPage County Health Department, the school nurse liaison from there, that puts out all of DuPage County, and that might be one resource.
Sure, I'll absolutely look into that.
All right, thank you for that. Principal's report.
Hang on.
Oh.
The 38 substitutes, that's like a qualified pool that we can draw from?
Yes.
On any given day, how many substitutes are we usually needing?
That fluctuates because we use substitutes by period. So it just depends on the teacher and how many periods they have that day, if they're out for a half day, if they're out for a full day, and what the substitutes can cover. The reason why we keep 38 on staff, which sounds like a large number, is because some of these are retirees who snowbird, or they'll spend time in this, they'll be available for a small period of time in the school year and not another. So the data from last year, again, fluctuates by time of year. This year, the beginning of the school year, we have a couple leaves that are being covered by our substitutes, long FMLAs and other leaves of that nature. And then we're looking at about, right now, 3 to 5 a day in this first 2 weeks of school. That will increase as we go on further and get closer to September, October, November. But what's nice too is this year we hired 5 brand new ones, and 4 of them had PELs, so professional educator licenses, which is great to have that in our pool too. A lot of them are teachers looking to get experience in teaching before they take their first teaching job, so it's nice to have those on staff as well.
Do we do any like end of the year celebration for substitutes, and do we capture their voice in any way?
So I'm bringing back staff appreciation this year with the different groups of staff members throughout the school year, and Substitute Day is one big one where they have their own, and all of the 38 of them will be recognized. Now, of course, the day that it is depends on who's in the building, but I'll catch up with the ones that don't to make sure that they are included in that process as well. We have a fun, this year we're teaming up with WeGo, Wake Up WeGo for coffee, and we're going to give everybody a certificate for $5 worth of whatever they're going to purchase from there. So it also kicks back to our students as well. So they will get one of those as well to spend when they're here. And that was missing from last year as well. So this year at least is coming back.
So when a substitute is needed for whatever reason, we send out a preferred, like a opening to a set of preferred substitutes based on class and things, or does that just get posted and first person that signs up gets it? I mean, I know how it works in some other districts. How does it work here?
Yeah, so since we have it in-house, we have a very tailored system here. You know, a lot of people will go out for their substitutes or use staffing agencies like Kelly Services and whatnot. Since we have our own, we're able to really tailor it to teacher request, substitute choice, and then being able to fill in those last periods, the periods that come in, you know, overnight, last minute, with teachers that are substitutes that want to teach 7 courses a day instead of 5. So essentially we have a couple options. Teachers can request based off of who they know they've had in their classrooms, or a lot of the retired teachers that may have been there before and taught in that content area, so they feel confident having those. Substitutes can go into Frontline and choose assignments, and then also Dr. Puyo's administrative assistant, Heather, will put out a spreadsheet in the morning. About 6:30, it goes out to all of the substitutes. If you look at the spreadsheet, they hover like O'Hare. You just see all of their pictures pop up. So for those extra periods to fill, after they've taken their assignment for 5 classes, they can also pick up 2 more periods in the day to be able to fill out their day if they want to. So there's a bunch of options in terms of how they can get their sub-assignments.
We pay on a per period basis?
Per period basis, yes, unless it's a long-term fill, then it's different.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I missed this. Did you say that you did talk to them, or how do we know like what's going well, what we may need to improve on year to year?
So that'll be a part of some of the Goal 3 sense of belonging that we're going to incorporate, because there wasn't much in the past other than they have the ability to email HRD94 at any point in time with any concerns, questions, or comments that they have, but we didn't have a formal version of feedback for them.
How do we evaluate the substitutes as we go through the year?
So there's a couple sections in Frontline. First, there's ones where substitutes can leave their notes for the teachers. They can do it there or they can do it here. And then teachers can actually go ahead and read those notes and then decide if they want those substitutes in their classrooms or not. If we consistently get issues, which has happened in the past, now I haven't been here, so I'll see that moving forward, but if we do have issues with substitutes in terms of teachers saying things are not getting completed, or there are just overall areas that are not being fulfilled, those are just substitutes that then don't get called and don't get asked back. Because we want, again, because we have 38, we have a really good selection of people, different content areas that their expertise is in. There are areas that are hard. Sometimes people don't want to teach PD because they don't feel comfortable in physical development classes, but we do have a few that are really gung-ho on that, and those are the ones that will take those courses, and then if there's any feedback regarding positive or negative regarding the sub, we have those conversations as needed.
There's a system in place for a teacher to give that immediate feedback.
To the substitute themselves, not
No,
necessarily.
to, like,
Yes, yes.
Perfect.
Any other questions on personnel? Okay, thank you for that. Principal's report.
Thanks. I'm going to begin with an update on our summer bridge. So this school year, we held summer bridge over July 13th through the 28th. And summer bridge is open to all incoming 9th grade students from all 3 of our middle schools. And the intent of the program is to help support the transition to high school, just helping students become familiar with our school building, just building connections, and really prepare them for the start of the school year. This summer, we had 91 students that participated in Bridge. 78 of those students earned credit. Now, in order to receive credit, you cannot have more than 2 absences. In comparison, In 2025, we had 110 students who participated with 86 earning credit. And the year prior, we had 114 students participate with 110 earning credit. So the next item that I'm gonna touch on is the panorama surveys. We're currently using panorama surveys to gather feedback related to social emotional learning, student connectedness, and just really learn from a student's perspective about our school culture. So our students typically participate in this survey in late September and then again in the spring. And so one of the things that we began doing this year is administrators met with representatives from Panorama to explore options for expanding our current use of the platform. And the area under consideration is the use of Panorama to gather feedback from not only our students, but also our families and all of our employee groups. So this would be to replace the 5 Essential survey that's administered typically in late February, early March. So currently 5 Essential surveys, they limit participation only to certified staff. In addition to that, we have not been receiving the results from our parent survey, and that is because we had not reached the threshold required, which is 20% parent participation. In 2025-26, our participation increased from 2.7 to 12.3%, and this is parent participation. But we didn't get those survey results just because we didn't meet that 20%. So although we had some parents complete it, we didn't have access to what that feedback was because 5 Essentials does not provide you that report unless you meet that minimum threshold. So expanding Panorama could really provide us with more timely access to feedback and allow us to hear feedback from all staff and really get some parent voice and hear that feedback from our parents. This work aligns with our strategic goals related to employee sense of belonging and accountability because we will be able to capture the voice of all groups, not just our certified staff. And also communication, engagement, and partnerships where we could leverage the parent surveys to really get feedback with response to, how our parents feel about, just like our communication efforts, how we're doing in the community and those engagement pieces. The next item that I want to provide an update on is collaboration with District 33. On credit for students who are in their advanced Spanish class. We met on the 24th, so August 24th, I met with District 33 administrators. So it was myself, our Director of Multilingual Learners, as well as a director from D33. And what we did is we began talking about opportunities to offer credits for the students in advanced Spanish. And upon initial review of the curriculum, the advanced Spanish curriculum that students are currently taking at Lehman Middle School aligns with the curriculum that we are providing our students in SNS 1. And so there are some areas, some units that do need to be worked on, but when we looked at the curriculum overall, there is overall alignment. And so one of the areas that our teams are going to continue to be working on, and we're going to bring in the teachers to do some of this work, is continue having conversations, because what D33 is going to do is they are going to adopt the certain units that are missing, and just to make sure that that alignment is at 100%. And we feel that by the end of the 26-27 school year, we can begin offering the students who went through this program credit for next year. There is some work that has to be done, and we're going to have our teachers meet and work on some of those curricular pieces that do need to be tightened up, but it can be done throughout this school year, allowing for students to potentially earn credit at the end of this school year for those students that are currently in the course.
These are for the students that have been in the District 33 dual language program for their whole
The
time?
ones in the advanced Spanish class, yes.
And is that, I don't know 33's curriculum, is that the same as the dual language program?
So those are the students that they have placed in the dual language, yes. Yeah. And so that curriculum that they, is aligned with our Spanish for Native Speakers course of the first section of that course.
So they would then get credit for Spanish for native speakers, high school credit.
At the end of this
At the-
year.
Well, once they adopt the units that they need to
Yes.
adopt into, and they're also going to give midterm and final exams.
Correct. And so one of the other pieces is we shared with them all of our curricular docs. They have all of our assessments, midterm, final. So if the student successfully, obviously, completes the course and passes our midterm and final, the student would be eligible for credit
With this year.
at the end of this year,
At
yes.
the end of
Because
this
they'll
year.
be
Yes.
making the
But-
changes as the year progresses. so
Correct.
it's
Correct.
In flight, adjusting the curriculum.
And provided all those needs are met,
Yes.
at the end of the year, that's,
Yeah.
they'll
But
receive
with,
credit. Okay.
in the initial meeting that we had, we are confident that we can work through the alignment of the curriculum because it is, it's more similar than it is different. So there's some work that does have to happen between our teachers and some collaboration that'll happen. I think, not only is it a great opportunity because, we have some students, more students that will be earning high school credit upon, completing the course, but then it also gives an opportunity for more collaboration between our teachers, which is also beneficial for both our districts.
So this is the alignment that 33 has been asking about. 'Cause I know they got the Spanish 1 taken
Yes.
care of for this year, but this was the other one that was
Correct.
on the table, was the dual language into Spanish for native speakers.
Correct.
I think it's important to understand that this could not have happened this year because of the gaps in their curriculum that they identified just yesterday. So the idea of this being expedited, it could not have happened this year because the alignment wasn't there. It's about, I'm going to put a percentage, don't quote me on this, maybe 75, 80% there. And 33 is more than willing to adopt the other pieces of the curriculum. And the big shift was they're willing to give 33 students the midterm and the final that aligns with ours, which before was a sticking point. So we're really happy to see that element come into play as well.
And when you say it couldn't have happened this year, you're talking about year-end '26,
Correct.
the
Yeah,
year we
year-end.
just completed.
The year we just completed,
Okay.
going into this year,
Okay.
it would not have been able to happen
Because they
because
would
of.
have had those gaps in the curriculum.
Correct. And we couldn't have certified that they had met those requirements. So now that they're working through them and they're more than willing and eager to expedite this process to get them in and roll them in this year, now we can comfortably say that we can start it next year with the students earning the grade in which they receive. So if they get a,
And 33 is comfortable with that.
well, that's part of the law.
Right, but I'm
Yeah.
saying everybody's comfortable with that.
They agreed to it with Spanish 1, so the same rules would apply. Yeah.
Considering that this was only enabled by a law that was passed back in January, it's pretty exciting that we're able to move quickly enough to get this done, through the course of this school year.
We're moving extremely fast, and I know it's hard to look outside of our little circle here in District 94, but if you go back and you look at other high school districts that have multiple feeder schools coming in, some of them have not even adopted the high school credit for middle school yet, even though it was a law enacted in January. And most of them, at least every single one that I've spoken with, so I'm not going to say all because it's a generalization, everyone that I've spoken with has not been able to apply credit to SNS, Spanish for Native Speakers, to high school yet. So we're making really good progress here, and we're really happy with the results of the meeting from last night or yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, and we have ongoing meetings scheduled, just to make sure that, we can continue to monitor and ensure that, we're on track for meeting that goal.
Excellent, thank you.
At least keep the board updated
Yeah.
as we go through this, it's especially at public meetings like this, because this is something that our community is very excited about, and so we want to make sure that they're hearing as we're moving rapidly towards accomplishing this.
Sounds good. I have one more thing in my report, and that's open house. So we hosted our open house last week on August 20th. This is an opportunity for families to visit classrooms, meet teachers, and just connect with the staff who are in the building. Our counselors provided grade level presentations for families of students in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. And then we also concluded the evening with a parent presentation on attendance, and that was delivered by our liaisons, social workers, and deans.
Can I backtrack a bit and ask you a question about the summer bridge?
Yes.
It looks like, well, it is, numbers were a bit less this year than they have been in previous years. Is there anything you can attribute that to, or is there anything we need to do? And then secondly, are those credits that go to their graduation requirements?
It's an elective credit that they receive.
Okay,
Yeah, so
Okay.
it goes under, it's an elective. In terms of the numbers, I think it's a challenge because it is a long commitment, and over the summer, we do have families that travel. And so that's the one challenge, is just, the summer, getting students to commit to almost 3 weeks of school can be a challenge. We have worked with, our feeder middle schools just to promote it and advertise it as much as possible. And we do have it open to all students that want to participate. So the numbers have fluctuated year to year, but I think that some of those challenges it has to do with, just like the conflicts with schedules, vacations, and things like that.
okay.
What is the schedule for that? Is it 5 days a week?
So
How
it
many
ran
hours
from
takes?
July, yes, the 13th through the 28th. And because the students do receive credit, there is a certain number of hours that are required.
Is it full day or half day?
So it's half day.
Half day.
Yeah.
And with this summer, I have a question, the Summer Bridge program, how long have we been running that?
Quite some time.
Yes.
Yeah, quite some
10
time.
years,
Yeah.
15 years?
I think it's, so I know that it's been a long time. I would say maybe like 10 years,
I think that-
longer?
Way back.
Way back,
Yeah.
okay.
It goes way back. I'm not gonna give you specific dates, but way
Okay,
back.
so it's
Yeah.
a pretty long period of
Yeah.
time. Okay, do we know, like, what are we looking for when these kids enter the program and they complete it? Are we seeing that is improving their, outcomes in terms of they do better, or the transition is smoother or easier?
Yeah, so I can't speak to that data specifically, but overall, it's more of like that social emotional piece, like that connectedness, giving them an opportunity to explore our building, get to know some of our teachers. So it's from that social emotional lens. We have a huge building. I think the anxiety of just coming into a large building is a big deal for some students. So for a lot of them, they just get to know the building, get to know, okay, this is where you go, this is where our bookstore is, this is where like our LRC is, and they kind of just get to know like the workings of our building, where to go for help, where to go for support. So it's kind of like a crash course on like all things high school, but then we also embed some team building, social emotional, some executive functioning pieces of it, just organization, time management, things like that.
It's just a really good opportunity to kind of start establishing that sense of like connectedness and belonging, and it really does afford students that are transitioning over, because freshman year is really hard, to again acclimate to the building, make connections with teachers, make connections with their peers. It's a good way for them to kind of start the first day with like a peer network, which is really good, and it is rigorous. I do also think, Lynn, going back to your question on enrollment, I think that at least from my perspective, we were starting the year because of construction in at least the elementary school district, and we would start after Labor Day. So that was a long time for a parent to have a child out of school. So I think parents were more intentional of like fitting in that bridge program and maybe not taking the vacation, or you had enough time to do both. This year, because our dates are so much more aligned with our elementary school district and the high school district, I don't think there's enough time to do that. So that's another perspective.
Yeah.
But it's a very valuable program. My student participated, and they had a great experience. And again, it's really nice that on day one they see familiar faces, their friends are involved. I will say too, I was here at curriculum night or open house. It was awesome. I heard a lot of parents say really good things about the building and how amazing it was, how it took them aback how big it is, but really overall the updates and just overall what a great environment it is for our students. it just felt like there was really good energy in the building. So that was really nice, welcoming. I feel like I have a different footing, and now that I'm actually here as a parent, so it was really good to hear. And then I definitely want to commend the work that's been done. I want to definitely congratulate the entire board, because I think that we had a lot to say about that Spanish credit. And I think that we congratulate the leadership for being committed to that and being steadfast, because from what I understand, there is a lot more alignment than to mobilize things quickly. So I'm really happy to hear that. And just being a lifelong community member, I can see that there's so much value to the dual language program. The students that come out of that program are able to do amazing things, and within our building, it opens up so many more doors to them, and just overall in their life. So I really commend everybody here. I really felt like we were heard, and everybody came together, and for that, I congratulate everyone at the table today.
Any other comments on the principal's report?
We've been running the Bridge program for quite a few years. Have we been tracking what the impact of the students taking Bridge are in their success here, as far as are they more likely to participate in a club or an athletic activity or get into AP and things? I mean, do we know, other than, you know, they get the warm and fuzzy, that there's actually a valuable impact, and if so, that's something maybe we can use to kind of market the Bridge and, you know, tell parents, you know, your kids are more likely to be able to do this, this, and this, besides just, you know, find out where the bookstore is.
Yeah, no, I think that's, I mean, as you all were talking, that was kind of one of the things that I'm thinking that we will want to do. I don't think that we've been doing that, like in terms of looking at, okay, who participated in Bridge, and, you know, what is their, you know, level of participation versus like students who did not. I think it's an area that we can look at and we can study. We have the data. We just have to go back. We know who the students are. We just have to go back and look at it. I think that'd be an interesting study. And like you said, it could be another piece that we can use to market it.
I think it would be very valuable to know that, as far as putting more emphasis on the Bridge and trying to get more participation.
I think we also have to be able to evolve with the times too. I mean, with each passing generation, attention spans get smaller, kids get stretched in different directions, vacations, camps, activities. There's an attendance requirement due to credit. I know a lot of districts have gone to shortening their, what we call Bridge program. Instead of 3 weeks, they go down to 4 days or 5 days. And that seems to have more of an impact and more participation, because it's a shorter amount of time, and the kids are then free to do the other things that we want them to do over the summer as well. So there's a lot of ideas that Dr. Pollo and her team have been working through, just to constantly reevaluate, to say, hey, all right, the numbers are going down. Why? Is there a better way in which we can do it? And if that means we don't offer half a credit and we shorten it down to 4 days, but we get, instead of 84 kids, we get 200, that could be a win. So.
Do we market it at 8th grade Step Up?
Yes, we do share it at 8th grade Step Up. I think some of it, we share the information with students, but a lot of the communication is coming through the middle schools. So our counselors do share the information. We have a social worker that's the coordinator for Bridge, and so she does connect with the middle schools and work with like the registration.
I was wondering if earlier, like
Yeah.
kind of, or as part of the 8th grade meeting, that students had received.
Because our Step Up days are held after, like we've already determined the dates for Bridge at this point, so we communicated it as an opportunity. But our middle schools, they really do an awesome job of promoting it and getting families to participate. So, I mean, kudos to them, because I think that a lot of the numbers are really some of their efforts, and they also help identify some students that could potentially benefit as well. And so that's the other piece. Like, it's open to all, but sometimes, you know, we may want to target specific students that we know could use the boost.
At the risk of feature creep, I guess, I could see where incoming freshmen, the bridge would be valuable to get to know the aspects of the school and things. It makes me wonder, would a sophomore bridge also be of value, since, now the kids coming in as freshmen, there's just a lot of things going on after they've spent the year here. Now we have things that we can be a little more specific on as they're entering their sophomore year, getting ready for junior and senior.
I think that would speak to our summer school program more than a sophomore bridge, and we're looking to actually have a true summer school program moving forward. That's in the works right now. A bridge to focus on SEL between freshman and sophomore year historically is not well received. Just because the kids have already been here for a full year, and if they're going to devote their time in the summer, they want to get something out of it in terms of either credit or advancement in credit or classroom. So the idea of having like a week-long summer bridge between freshman and sophomore year would be, I think that'd be challenging to do.
Although they do get credit, so as an elective, it seems like coming in as freshmen, there's a lot of other things going on, and they may not appreciate the opportunity. But then coming in as sophomores, they're a little more knowledgeable, and they're wondering, what am I missing? What am I not getting to do? That some exposure to that would be.
I'm intrigued and excited to hear your comment about full summer school program, so that's going to be exciting to hear more about as we go forward. Anything else on the principal's report? All right, superintendent's report.
Hey, I'd first like to thank the Rotary Club of West Chicago for hosting a wonderful luncheon for our new teachers earlier this month at Cantini Golf Club. This highlights yet another strong partnership between District 94 and the greater West Chicago community. In addition, on Monday, August 10th, many of our administrators from D94 and our entire team of family liaisons participated in a back-to-school event at Cantini Park. A special thank you to Molly Beck, Dean of We Go Together for Kids, for organizing such a special evening that benefited thousands of students. I know I saw Penny there. Every year I go, I don't understand how many, it's mind-blowing to see how many kids that are able to be there and attend, and the smiles on their faces and how the community comes together. It's unique and it's quite remarkable. So. Held off, so that was also a plus. It felt like it got hotter as the night went on. I don't know how it's possible. So policy update, first reading of Press Plus 122 will take place on September 1st at the COW meeting, with approval taking place on September 15th during the regular meeting. All board members received the policy packets. I'll be connecting with Rich after this meeting to talk through some of it. It's a pretty quick read compared to last time. So let me know if you have any questions as we get through this. And then we'd already talked quite extensively about the high school credit for middle school students, but I just wanted to give you an update as to I guess, a secondary update, to be redundant. Received responses from all of our associate districts, District 25, 33, and 34, regarding the policy granting high school credit for middle school students. As previously noted, District 34 has elected to introduce this to 8th grade students this year, with credit being awarded upon entering D94 in the 27-28 school year. Districts 25 and 33 have elected to start this immediately. All students were identified by the superintendents from District 25 and 33, and they have received their high school credit on their Spanish 1 transcript, and their transcript reflects that. So that's exciting.
Very exciting.
And lastly, we have received 2 FOIA requests since the last regular board meeting, and we have responded within the required time frame. All of these requests have been included in your packet. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you for that. Committee and representative reports.
All right, just a quick update here from SACID. So the Board of Directors met on Wednesday, August 5th. During this meeting, we received updates on their strategic planning, staffing, and enrollment in facilities. At the time of our meeting, and I will tell you that I just got an update this afternoon, nothing has changed since August 5th. SACID received the final counteroffer from Oakbrook property at $39.77 per square foot. That brings the anticipated total cost to purchase the facility at just under $6 million. However, SACID has not received approval from Oakbrook to rezone this property for educational purposes. So they had a meeting set up earlier this week with the mayor of Oakbrook, and that meeting got canceled. So they're looking to reschedule and find a way to meet with the mayor of Oak Brook to rezone the property that they want. If they can't, then they're gonna have to look for other opportunities. So I know there's a governing board meeting tomorrow. So that originally was gonna be on the docket, but I know they'll explain that tomorrow night at the governing board meeting. So that concludes my committee report.
All right, that brings us to future dates. September 1st, coming up quickly in a week, committee of the whole meeting, and September 15th, regular Board of Education meeting. Next item is high school credit for middle school students discussion. I think we've already covered that. Does anybody feel we need to talk further on that, or are we all covered? All right, then we will move on to panorama discussion. One of the items on the agenda later today would be for the district to switch to panorama and not do the 5 essentials. So this is our opportunity to ask questions or talk about it to try to understand whether this is something we're all comfortable with. I've got a couple questions to start off with. We do the panorama survey. If we do that in lieu of the 5 essentials, how visible to our community are all of the results of that? Of the panorama?
Of the panorama?
Yes.
It would be part of our data presentations, it would be part of our quarterly updates, part of our strategic plan.
Are they able to look at it, like right now with 5 essentials, they can look it up online and see what the results are. Are they gonna be able to do something similar to that?
Yeah, we would create a format, obviously eliminating any identifiable factors, student or staff identifiable factors, and that would be public data. I know the question was raised from Penny, I think last board meeting, about historical data. If you go on the Illinois State Report Card, they log in the historical report cards back to 2006. We don't control that. Everything is in there since 2006. So all of the 5 essentials, all of our data since 2006 has been uploaded into this Illinois School Report Card. So it's there for access. We're not trying to hide or shy away from any data, previous data. It is what it is. What we believe, though, as an administrative team, that this panorama data actually gets to a point where we can actually utilize the data to make informed decisions. I know Dr. Pueyo had mentioned, and I had mentioned the previous board meeting, 5 essentials essentially eliminates 2/3 of our survey. Our support staff aren't included. Our parents are essentially not included because I've personally reached out to 5 essentials to request a report when we were below the 20 percentile, and they wouldn't give it to me. So all of that effort and work that we put into it, we get nothing in return. With Panorama, we could have 5 parents that take the survey, and we still get that data, because we own that data. So it highlights in so many important elements of our strategic plan, not to mention the fact that we have already used Panorama for our students, and now we'll have historical data that we can align to the questions that we really need answered in our strategic plan to help implement interventions and to understand where we're at in real time and not wait for 5 essentials to give us the data 2 months later. We'll get it, I think, 2 weeks?
No,
Instantly?
as soon as the survey closes.
Are you
24
creating
hours.
the questions then?
We will. Yeah, we have the ability to create the questions to align what our needs are.
Is there an alignment between what we'd be asking in Panorama and what was asked in 5 essentials?
To a certain extent, but
I'm just wondering, with all that historical data
Mm-hmm.
in 5 essentials, obviously some of it is, looking better and some of it is, not looking as good. And I'm concerned about losing that, okay, now we're not measuring the same things anymore. You'd want to be able to still see, are those things improving or not?
we want to be able to measure the things that matter. So if there's not alignment, it's because our focus is on what we believe as an organization, the things that matter more than some of the other 5 essentials. There will be alignment between the questions to a certain extent, but they're not going to be word-for-word alignment. So there's going to be some difference. But I will tell you that the majority of the data that is produced from 5 essentials is not actionable data for us. And that creates a problem. We like to refer to it as data-rich, information-poor, right? 5 essentials give you a lot of data, but there's not a whole lot of information and action steps as to how we can improve it. Panorama will give us that same context of data, but we'll also be able to implement action steps to see improvement over time.
Panorama is more flexible at being able to tailor, whereas from what I understand, 5 essentials is, here's what you get.
Here's what you get.
And we're not changing it, we're not interested in improving it. Too bad.
Five Essentials has been around for 20-plus years. It's, data-centered, it's evidence-based. The parent part of it is really valuable. And to be honest, I guess my question would be, we haven't secured 20% with Five Essentials. So what makes, I guess, you think that we'd be able to secure 20% with Panorama?
We don't need to.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, too, what are we getting? I mean, you said if we got 5 people, we'd get that information. But that's really not the end goal, because right now, we've, what has been the completion rate in the recent years?
We had 12.7% last year. We had 3% the year before.
That's for parents, right?
For parents.
For parents.
Yeah.
And the one thing is that there is direct alignment with the state report card. So I guess my question would be is how can we reimagine connecting with parents? And what are we gonna do to recruit parents or to have parents take this survey? Because I'll be clear in terms of the challenges that I have run into is surveys are very wordy, and depending on the language barriers, depending on educational levels, all of this information has to be taken into account for parents, community members to take any survey. So at the same time, there's survey fatigue. So I guess my question would be, how are we gonna approach this different? And Five Essentials is free. We're paying for Panorama. So is there value in keeping both? Again, because the benefits are there, and there are a lot of school districts that use Five Essentials.
Majority of the school districts that use Five Essentials are either K-12 or elementary. Historically, elementary school districts have a much higher parent involvement rate than high school districts. That's just the reality of it. So I guess you have to ask yourself the question, would I rather get results from parents and support staff, right, at 12%, and be able to act on that, or would I rather not get anything at all? I would rather get the data so I can act on it, as opposed to just giving a survey and not having any data to act on. Right now, we're flying blind. We administered the Five Essentials. We had the greatest turnout for parent participation last year, probably in the last 8 or 9 years, and we don't have access to the data. That's not helping us move forward as an organization. We're leaving out a third of our staff for a climate survey. That goes against goal number 3 for the strategic plan. I mean, we can't say that that's okay.
Is the reason for the 20% floor because of, it needs to be statistically relevant, that you need to have enough of a?
Yeah, well, I don't understand the rationale for that, because that, to me, is terrible. The parents take that time and effort. Do they realize
Yes.
that there's a 20% requirement, and that, because they may be filling things out and wondering why they're not getting acted upon?
Yeah. No,
What was, when you approached them, what was their explanation for why they won't release anything if it's not 20%?
that's just that's their guidelines and rules. This is the 3rd district that I've done Five Essentials in, and all 3 districts have been the same issue. All
They
3.
can't get their parents high
That
enough to.
we can't get them over 20%, and even there was one district that I was at 17.9%. I'm like, close enough. I called over to Five Essentials. They said, you didn't meet the 20% threshold. I'm like, well, give me something. They're like, no. That's a problem. And the other issue is the interface. I know, Penny, you've probably taken the Five Essentials as a parent. I've taken it as a parent. It's a nightmare to take on your phone. Everybody takes surveys on their phone. Five Essentials, even for an educator, is difficult to navigate through on their phone. Panorama has a much better user face than Five Essentials does.
What did we do to try to have parents take the survey?
We captured them at open house, parent-teacher conferences, key events.
Yeah.
How did we do that?
So it was actually our college and career night. So we had computers set out, and we also created QR codes. And so as families were coming in for different events, we're just like, hey, don't forget, take the Five Essentials survey. And so we also had some families that needed help, just kind of going through the surveys. And so we had our parent liaisons that, helped some families kind of log in, and was like, okay, this is the screen. Obviously, it's available in different languages if we needed to toggle the language, and then they sat down and finished it. So we did that. We did get a lot of parents fill it out when we were just out in front during events, just letting parents know, hey, fill it out. We also did promote it more with our communication. We did a couple of videos promoting it, put those out through social media. It was posted on our website, and just the different methods in which we communicate. We were more intentional about promoting it, trying to increase that parent participation. I mean, going back from where were we at in the previous year, I mean, we did get a lot more participation, but just didn't meet that threshold. Initially, when parents get the email from 5 Essentials, right, the email is coming from UIC, right? It's not coming from D94.
See it.
Right, and so for some families, may not pay attention to it. Some do, some fill it out, but I think we just have to continue to communicate, oh, you got that in your email, we'll need you to fill it out. And then we also know that some of our families don't access email, and that's where, we tried, kind of doing more of the in-person thing, hey, we want you to fill this survey out. So.
Is this, from what you said earlier, a lot of high school districts have gone to Panorama rather than 5 Essentials?
A lot of high school districts have shifted away from 5 Essentials. Some of them have created their own surveys. Some of them have used Panorama. 5 Essentials is easy because it's free and it's built into the school report card. But I will tell you, like I said before, having been in multiple schools, when we don't get a parent report, there's nothing that we do with it. And then every school I've been in, it has been the support staff asks, can you add us? Can you add us? And we don't have the ability to add them. And to me, that totally contradicts what we're trying to accomplish with a sense of belonging and accountability from a staff standpoint. If we're saying we believe in that, but we're knowingly omitting a third of our staff, I don't think we can be okay with that as a board or as a district.
With Panorama, are we able to get any percentages while the survey is still open as to how many have been filled out by the different groups, so we can see, are we still missing a lot of parents? Are we still missing staff or whatever? Or we don't know, we still won't know until once it's closed?
No, we'll be able to monitor what our survey completion is.
So while you've got your
Yes.
window where it's open, you can say, you know what, we need to hit the parents harder because we're still lower than we want to be, that sort of thing.
Correct.
Whereas with 5 Essentials, I'm assuming you didn't know until it was closed.
No, you did know. They would give you updates. They would give you, every week or every
Yeah.
2 weeks, they would tell you the completion percentage. You have 3% of the parents that have completed it. Remember, you need 20% to get a report. 2 weeks later, you have 4%. So they would give you those. We wouldn't know who they are, nor should we.
No,
but they would give us those updates.
percentages. And any emails or any other communications that would go to anybody regarding this, if we go to Panorama, it would come from us. It wouldn't come from, so they would recognize, oh, it's coming from the high school, not coming from some other organization.
Yep.
But 12% participation, if we increased our participation by 50%, that still wouldn't reach the threshold. If we went from 12, if we added an additional 50%, which would probably be a heavy lift, we'd get about 18%, which still is below. So I guess the other question is, if we hit 20% one year, and then the next year we fall back, the qualification is if you can get to 20% once, you can keep the information, or you've got to be at 20%
Oh, you have to be
every year to be able to get any information.
So you wouldn't see any connectivity between the years because you'd get it here and you'd lose it again.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why we haven't used Panorama to survey?
Because that's what we're asking for tonight, is for us to allow, for the board to allow us to use Panorama to survey.
Because we pay for Panorama.
Because we pay
Yeah.
for it.
Do both?
Can we do both Panorama and 5 Essentials?
Yeah.
I don't know how you triangulate
try
that data.
I don't know, fill in the gaps. Then you have your survey. So that'd be actionable, but you could still,
We would still have to pay for it, though.
because you're not, well, not ISB, the 5 Essentials is free, right?
Right,
Panorama, we're gonna pay for.
correct.
So
So you'd want to do both for everyone? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I guess I'm just wondering if it wouldn't be, I don't know.
What would that look like? Would
Yeah.
that
Yeah, if we do
get us
both,
more
because we
information?
have the free one, even though we're not getting the results, because we
That's a lot of
oversubscribed it.
surveys to ask our folks to do, our students, our staff, our parents. I think Penny mentioned survey fatigue, or somebody mentioned survey fatigue. Oh, boy. I mean, if we throw another one in there, I think that's a lot to ask.
Is there anything on
We
Panorama?
continue using something that doesn't meet our needs, doesn't address the full staff, and doesn't engage the parents, and obviously is not the preferred method of reaching out for high school, why would we keep using something like that when a far more robust option is available? I'm confused about why this discussion is even being had. It just seems like a no-brainer to me that here's a better option. Probably at the time we started with 5 essentials, that was all that there was, but it isn't anymore. So why would we hang on to something that gives us virtually nothing?
We talked about continuity. We're not getting information, so what are we looking at continuity for from year to year? It's sort of like when they keep changing between SAT and ACT, that seems to be a bigger issue, that we lose historical data that's more important, I think, to what we're doing. So I'm just wondering why this is that big a deal.
Two things I want to say real quick. I think that I don't think at any point any of us are. That's not, I don't think, anybody's sentiment. But at the same time, I will say again, I do think that 5 Essentials does capture teacher voice and a lot of pertinent data to teacher voice and student. The student portion of it also secures a lot of really valuable information and data. So I definitely think that it's, I guess, for us to want to move in a different direction is one thing, but to also say it's not valuable, again, I think that it does pose questions in a way that gives us a huge insight into what's happening in the classroom that may not be visible to anyone not in education or not in a school building. So I definitely want to make that point.
Well, it sounds like Panorama, we can tailor it however we choose to tailor it. So if we want continuity with what was already being asked in 5 Essentials, that's something that you can continue that. So we're asking a lot of the same, maybe ask other things too, but we're asking a lot of the same things that we asked in the past, correct?
We can. We can make it however we want. That's the nice thing about Panorama. We can
And to
literally.
piggyback on that, what Bob said, there's nothing that we are going to, no component that we're going to miss by going to Panorama that we have on 5 Essentials.
So we're only going to gain things that we don't have.
We're not going to lose any information off of changing.
So again,
No, we're not going to
this
lose
is kind of a
information.
no-brainer. Why, if you can keep getting the information you're already getting, but enhance it by getting the information you would really like to be getting on top of that, why would you stick with something that
Sorry, I thought you were
not
done.
working? It just makes no sense to even keep beating this dead horse.
I just want to ask a couple of quick questions. So as a community member, I'm just a community member, say I'm looking to move into this area, and that may be something I look up to find out more about the school districts. If we are no longer with 5 Essentials, which you say is associated with the Illinois report card. So 2 questions. Will the Panorama be associated with the Illinois report card somehow? And if we have participated in 5 Essentials all these years, and then all of a sudden we drop off? Is there some explanation somewhere? So people don't think that we just decided not to do surveys ever again because we didn't like the info. Do you know what I mean?
So there is something on the Illinois school report card that has it's the climate survey. It's a little box that will say climate survey 5 essentials. In the schools that don't use that, it won't say 5 essentials. It'll be a link to their climate survey that you can
Oh,
put in there.
okay.
So it will take us to the results of our survey.
We can take it, or what we will end up doing anyway is just posting it to our website as part of our whole strategic plan and goal monitoring process.
Right, but it would be
So-
there for somebody that's used to going there to get information,
can find
and
it
then
either
it will
way.
take us here,
Or
take
it-
them here.
I don't know if it'll be that seamless. We would redirect them to the survey in which we took,
Okay,
or we administered.
okay.
That sounds very good. That's important. I guess the other question was this, we didn't get parent results, but we did get some results. And I guess there's some interest in some kind of continuity with tracking how have things changed from 5 essentials to Panorama. So maybe as you're designing what you're going to ask in Panorama, keep in mind we'd like to see how things are tracking. You know, more results, great. Get the parents and support staff, that's wonderful. But we don't want to lose the longitudinal
Yeah.
trending.
Could I speak a little bit to that? I had been in conversations with some of the Panorama reps, and one of the things that we talked about is that they're going to, what we have in 5 essentials, they're going to use that as our baseline data. And so then if we were to move forward with them, then we can use that to see changes. So that when we look at like, okay, what is our data that aligns with those metrics, we can see, was there an increase, was there a decrease?
It will be visible, easily visible to our community, even that we've made this transition. People will be able to see,
So
here's where we were, here's where we are.
Well, I think we can build that report to look like that. If that's not the way that they produce it, I think that's something that we can work on.
I think that is something
yeah.
that the community would like to see, is be able
Yeah.
to see how it's
What
been
that
trending.
changes,
You know,
yeah.
we don't want to, otherwise it could look like, well, some of those numbers weren't so good. We went to this new system now. We want to make sure that there's a connection.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying that, Bob. I do want to say something. Both meetings, I'm part of the PTAC committee, and at both meetings last year, parents did communicate that they really struggled in finding things on the website. And so I do think there's value to ensuring that we make a clear path to accessing that information, because that was something that, it was a common theme at both of our meetings last year, that they really did have difficulty in finding things that they were looking for on the website.
So is finding athletic information.
Excuse me?
So is finding athletic information on the website.
Is-
So
is-
5 essentials is a canned package. Basically, we just take the link and go to it. This is more of a tailored thing. Are we going to have a committee, or are we going to have like a Panorama survey manager or something? Who's responsible for making this work?
Dr. Boyle?
Okay.
So I would be working with the Panorama representatives. There are certain elements that are required so that we are meeting the requirements for the state. So there's going to be certain specific questions that align with what's required for the state. And then in addition to that, there are other pieces of it that we can tailor if there's some specific things that we want to capture from our staff or from our student body. So it'll capture the required components that align to what's 5 essentials is asking. And then there's the ability for us to customize some different things just based off of, what some of our specific needs are here.
Okay, so part of our subscription is their technical support to help us build this. So basically, it sounds like it's 5 essentials plus.
We have the opportunity to tailor it. I think another option, I throw this out there. One of the things that we currently are required to do is we have to do the parent survey through the assurances of voluntary compliance. There's a parent survey that we're required to do that asks for specific questions. And we have to survey all parents. If there's a possibility that we can incorporate that into the parent survey so that we're only giving one survey. And then obviously Panorama would only report the required questions to 5 Essentials, and then that other data we use. So there's some flexibility where we can, like incorporate it to kind of support some of our needs, as opposed to then sending out a separate survey that we need to send out to all parents, for other reasons. So that is one of the other pieces of that flexibility, which could help with some of that, like survey fatigue and things like that.
Well, that's a very good thing. If we can limit it to one survey is going to go to parents and it'll take care of all that we need to be asking them, that would be a good thing.
Is 5 Essentials multilingual?
It's available in multiple languages, but Panorama is also available in different languages for parent stakeholders.
Same number, or are they available in more languages because we have?
I'd have to find out the exact number of languages it is, but obviously, it's available in Spanish, which is our largest speaking population. But I don't know all of the different languages it's available. That's something that I could look into.
Be good to have a comparison.
Yeah.
On that.
Anything else regarding Panorama? Comfortable with where we're headed at this point, or what's the general thought?
I think we need to put it on the table.
It's up for approval later tonight, so I'm just trying to make sure that everybody's comfortable, or are we not? Penny? All right, that was a good discussion. Board members' open comments.
I have less of a comment and more of a question. Is board book like real time? When you put out board book on Friday afternoon, is it the same information that we see at the meeting, or are there changes along the way?
No, once it's published on Friday, the only thing that could change is if I make a grammatical or spelling error, which I just noticed I made one in my report that I didn't change. So there's no substantive changes whatsoever. So what's in there on Friday at 3 o'clock is the same thing that's in there right now.
Oh, there have been a couple times over the years where there was a change to the agenda, and it is in the online version, but it wasn't in the version that went out there Friday. So that has happened, not very often, but it has happened. Yeah, because what I usually do is I usually download everything off of Board Book into a Dropbox, and I look at it from there. And there were a couple times where the agenda I was looking at was out of sync with the latest version that was printed out. So it can happen.
That was we talked about that last year. Wasn't that the way in which it was downloaded?
It was the fact that it had changed between when it was put up on Friday, and there was some reason there was some tweak to it. So it is possible.
That's what I'm asking. And if there's a change, does that change automatically show up? So I may open up on Friday and look at it, and I may leave it and go over it, till Tuesday, sometimes till Tuesday, 5 o'clock. So I guess my question is, if there's a change put in, does that automatically show up at what I'm looking at that I opened on Friday, or do I need to close it and open it up again to get the change?
You have to close it and reopen it.
So it doesn't update it doesn't update real time.
Oh,
It
I
just
see what you're
updates.
asking.
Oh, you're saying if
It
you
updates to
left the web
latest
page
version.
up.
Yeah,
So I've got to
Go out
get
and
the
go
latest
back in.
version, I've got to reload it.
yeah. Go out
I
and
would
go
think
back
so.
in.
Okay.
And nobody changes it
No.
after Friday. I
But
mean,
normally
nobody
it's
that
touches
should
already-
not happen.
No.
nobody touches it after Friday. After it's posted and sent out, at least since I've been here, we don't touch it after Friday.
If that ever does happen, I would hope that an email will go out to the board saying, this got updated, or something, in case there is some last minute, okay, gotta push this thing out
But
or
I don't even know
something.
if legally we can change it
Oh,
within the
because it's
48
public.
hours.
As long as it's within the 48 hours, like by
Right.
saying something could, like if something got, there's an issue discovered on Saturday, and we need to make this change, you're still within the 48 hours.
Well, if you're not changing the agenda, but you're changing some of the background information and things like that, you should be able to change that, not necessarily change an agenda item. So I guess what I'm saying is that, the memo that Dan sends out on Friday, if he were to update that on Monday morning for some reason, it doesn't sound like that would automatically update if I've had Board Book open for a couple days already. I need to refresh Board Book to get the latest version of everything.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, if there's an edit in the attachment and that changes, you would have to, yeah, you'd have to refresh that page.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not missing things.
All right, any other comments?
Yes, I have a question. I had some parents, and I felt it myself as well. The arrival and dismissal on Joliet Street, on the other end, which is whatever the footballs are. I don't know what that street. Is it Ann? No, on the football field street.
Wood Street.
Wood Street, yeah.
So, is there security personnel assigned to post in the morning, and how early are they there? Because there were days where I saw them there and days that I didn't see them there, and unfortunately, there were days where there's students just walking into the street, and two of which barely stopped, and then there were two cars that almost bumped into each other. So I just kind of wanted to know, are there, are security staff, directing traffic? And then are they on the both ends, or is it just one end of the building? Because there was a couple days that I didn't see anybody on the marquee side, and then I saw two people on the football side, and it was pretty close to 7:55. And then there were days that I only saw people on the football side and didn't see anybody on the marquee side.
This is the first year we've actually had security guards outside in our parking lots, so they can only be on our property. So I don't know if you're referring to intersections or?
No, the actual, in front of door 26, that's roundabout, or that,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I didn't, so there was one day that I saw somebody there, one person, and then there were days, the rest of the week, I don't think I saw anybody there. And
So
then
those
on
could
the
have been
other
days where we
end-
were short-staffed inside. I would have to talk to Dave about that, but I know this is the first year that Dave has positioned security guards outside for an additional layer of security, and then has redirected the traffic flow to ease some of these concerns, but it sounds like there's new concerns.
Well, that was great. I will say, that didn't happen the first few days, but then it happened, and that was great. But I'm dropping off at 2 times in the morning, so again, I don't know if maybe there isn't anybody out there necessarily for 0 hour, because obviously there's less students.
Probably
so
not,
that
yeah.
makes sense to me. But at 7:45, on both ends, it's
So you're saying that you'd like to
It was-
see more?
yeah. There was on the last few days, I didn't see anybody. On Monday and Tuesday, I think I saw one person that was. And then on the other end, there was 2 people in the round, and then one person that was blocking the bus lane. So that's who I saw, but it was just chaotic there, and then chaotic by the other parking lot by the church over here. Kids coming, going, cars not paying attention, not driving this.
I'll talk to Dave and see how they're set up. Yeah. Half hour before and after school in this area, it's because we're so tight.
Yeah.
It's really,
And that's why I was just wondering
Yeah.
about it, because again, it was just inconsistent all week. So I didn't know what to expect.
I'll look into it. Yeah.
I have another
Unfortunately,
question and
it's
comment.
not unique to our school. From my bus driving, pick-up and drop-off times, every school, it's an element of chaos.
We're blocking off Wood Street during football games after the game starts, or, is that a city thing, or is that a school thing?
The city allows us to do that. We can't do that unilaterally. The city allows us to do that. I don't know the exact time that it's blocked off, but it is blocked off during the game. And I know Dan and Dave have been working on installing a new light pole on that crossing walk from the parking lot to the stadium, because it was pitch black there. So that's going to be installed in the next couple weeks. So
I guess I'm trying to figure out how people get into the parking lot, because it looks like it's blocked off on one of the entrances.
during a football game?
Yes.
Before the tennis courts or after?
before the tennis courts.
People still drive right over other cars to get there. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
But before the tennis courts, which is that first entrance through the loop, and then it looks like the one entrance into the parking lot is blocked off. Does that mean people have to come and go out of the far entrance? I mean, they've got to obviously be able to get out of the parking lot. So I'm just wondering how that is all working.
Well, I know we have Andy Frayne that are there as well to monitor those lots. I don't, off the top of my head, Rich, I don't know. I don't know.
Curious.
Yeah.
Still handle those parking spaces?
I don't think they do anymore, do they, Dan?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then just a positive comment, one of the biggest marching bands I think we've had in a long time. So congratulations to the music and the people that are involved in activities and things like that.
Any other open comments? All right, that brings us to future issues. I'd like to bring up one thing. It was brought up actually kind of in the earlier panorama discussion regarding the status of our website, and maybe we can hear something in the future about any plans to improve our website, since that's a major piece of our community-facing way to access information.
I know last year, goal number 4, communication and engagement, Dr. Puello and Roy Ramos conducted focus groups to hear that, and they've taken some of that feedback and they're starting to work through that this year. So that's everybody understands that, the community, the board, you're not alone in that thought. Too many clicks to get to where you need. So is kind of snapping our fingers and saying this is fixed. It's a little more complicated than that. I'm not a web expert, but Roy's going to be working on that this year, along with Dr. Puello and the Goal 4 action team. So
That sounds good, especially if we're going with this panorama, that ties into that as well, to make it very easy and transparent for the community to find those results.
It's important that when developing a website, you consider the fact that more than half the people are going to be using a phone rather than a computer, because it's a completely different interaction.
And there's all kinds of, there's the little phones and the bigger phones and the tablets and all kinds of possible interfaces.
Well, worst case is probably a little Android or iPhone.
the phone.
Any other future issues?
Will Roy be attending board meetings? Is that something that should be happening? Okay.
He's just not, he comes when we have student recognition, staff recognition, so he comes to the regular ones.
Okay,
Did not need him here today,
okay.
so I told him to stay home.
Okay.
Really quick question about the website redevelopment. Will accessibility be one of the items that you guys have on the table? Okay.
So it'll be more compatible with screen readers and that sort of thing.
Yes, I mean, so we subscribe to Final Site, so that's the company we go through. So that's all taken care of through Final Site.
Any other future issues? All right, that brings us to consent agenda. Does anybody wish any items removed from the consent agenda for separate action? Hearing on the recommended motion, the Board of Education approve the consent agenda for the minutes, financials, and reports, the semi-annual review of closed session minutes, and audio recordings as presented.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Casey Mayer,
Aye.
Mr. Nagel,
Aye.
Mr. Amos, Mr. Amos,
Kathy, you're voting on the consent agenda.
Ms. Munoz,
Aye.
Ms. Chavez,
Aye.
Ms. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Delayed, but aye. Sorry about that.
thank you.
That's okay. All right, motion carries. There being no old business, that brings us to new business, panorama surveys. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the request to replace the 5 essential survey with panorama surveys as presented.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
That starts this year. Effective tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock or whatever.
You want to be the first one to get the survey, Rich?
Are board members included in these surveys? Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nagle?
Aye.
Mr. Amos?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz? Ms. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer?
Aye.
Motion carries. Practice pre-ACT testing. The recommended motion, the Board of Education approve the purchase of practice pre-ACT tests for the October 2nd administration to 9th and 11th graders as presented.
So moved.
Put it on as a second then.
Okay.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Amos?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Ms. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer?
Aye.
Mr. Nagle?
Aye.
Motion carries. New job description, Administrative Assistant to the Director of Culture and Climate. The recommended motion, the Board of Education approve the new job description as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Munoz? Ms. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer?
Aye.
Mr. Nagle?
Aye.
Mr. Amos?
Motion carries. Personnel report. The recommended motion, the Board of Education approve the personnel report as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
So we talked about pulling the personnel report out of consent agenda and having it a separate item. That's
Yes.
what we're going to be doing now?
Well, we've been doing that for, other than one or two board meetings that we missed, we've been doing that for 2 years? 2 years now.
So that's going to be practice then?
Well, you had requested that, and I assume you're still preferring that we do it that way?
Yes.
Yeah, that is the intention. It was just one or two meetings where it got bundled in accidentally. Roll call, please.
Ms. Chavez?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer?
Aye.
Mr. Nagle?
Aye.
Mr. Amos?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Motion carries. Policy 2:260, Uniform Grievance Procedure, second reading and approval. The recommended motion, the Board of Education approve policy 2:260 as presented.
So moved.
So moved.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer?
Aye.
Mr. Nagle?
Aye.
Mr. Amos?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Ms. Chavez?
Aye.
Motion carries. And there being no need for closed session and no more business to come before the board, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I was waiting for you, Kathy. I knew you'd want to make that one. Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, we are done. Thank you for a productive meeting, some good discussions tonight.